Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Bhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sivya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 33, Activities of Kapila, text number 7 onwards. So Mother Devahuti is speaking these verses. Aho vachupacho ato gariyan yajivagre vartate nam tubhyam tepu tapaste jahu sasnurarya brahmanam churnam grinanti ete. Oh, how glorious are they whose tongues are chanting your holy name. Even if born in the families of dog eaters, such persons are worshipable. Persons who chant the holy name of your Lordship must have executed all kinds of austerities and fire sacrifices and achieved all the good manners of the Aryans. To be chanting the holy name of your Lordship, they must have bathed at holy places of pilgrimage, studied the Vedas, and fulfilled everything required. So in the previous verse also she spoke a wonderful verse about the glories of the holy name. She says, to say nothing of the spiritual advancement of persons who see the Supreme Person face to face, even a person born in a family of dog eaters immediately becomes eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices if he once utters the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or chants about him, hears about his pastimes, offers him obeisances, or even remembers him. So, so this verse, wonderful verse, that uh, those glorious are those whose tongues are chanting your holy name, even if they're born in the family of dog eaters or chandal. Such persons are worshipable. Means they have, and also she says they have done all kinds of austerities, fire sacrifices, bathing at the holy places, study the Vedas, everything. And after doing everything means now they're qualified to chant the holy names of the Lord. So important. Means in the previous lives they have done all these austerities and penances required. As it is stated in the previous verse, a person who has once offenselessly chanted the holy name of God becomes immediately eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices. One should not be astonished by this statement of Srimad Bhagavatam. One should not disbelieve or think how by chanting the holy name of the Lord can one become a holy man to be compared to the most elevated Brahman. To eradicate such doubts in the minds of unbelievers, this verse affirms that the stage of chanting of the holy name of the Lord is not sudden, but that the chanters have already performed all kinds of Vedic rituals and sacrifices. It's not very astonishing, for no one in this life can chant the holy name of the Lord unless he has passed all lower stages, such as performing the Vedic ritualistic sacrifices, studying the Vedas, and practicing good behavior like that of the Aryans. All this must first have been done, just as a student in a law class is to be understood to have already graduated from general education. Anyone who is engaged in chanting of the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, must have already passed all lower stages. It is said that those who simply chant the holy name with the tip of the tongue are glorious. One does not even have to chant the holy name and understand the whole procedure, namely the offensive stage, offenseless stage, and pure stage. If the holy name is sounded on the tip of the tongue, that is also sufficient. So here Shloka says, Jivva Agre. Yet Jivva Agre means at the tip of the tongue, if he is chanting, means he's not chanting like Prabhupada said, understanding everything about the holy name and going to the pure stage of holy name. Just chanting, anyway, anyhow. And not just continuously chanting, just once if he has chanted. It is still beneficial and so much of piety behind it. Otherwise, nobody is even able to chant the holy name, even once. Just like Valmiki Rishi, when Narad Muni met him, he was a hunter, and he used to kill people and animals. Narad Muni decided to give him his mercy. So Narad Muni first sent him home, and he came back. That he got the answer from his family members that we are not going to take take your sins away because you committed sins for us, for our maintenance. We have nothing to do with your sinful reactions. So Valmiki Rishi came back, and Narad Muni said, now you give up your bow and arrow and you chant the holy name of Ram. Valmiki Muni said, I'm so fallen, this name does not come out of my tongue. He could not even say Rama. Narad Muni had to think of something. He said, okay, just chant Mara, Mara. You can chant Mara? He said, yeah, that is good, because I used to kill so many people and animals. So when Mara, 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 Rama, 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 it became Rama, 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 he didn't even know. So his purity, or he was purified by the mercy of Narad Muni, because he decided to serve such a great soul. In fact, during proper time, many disciples, when they read this verse and Prabhupada's commentary purport on this, they asked, so Prabhupada, we are chanting holy name in this lifetime, means in the previous lifetime, we must have committed all these sacrifices and austerities and penance and everything that is mentioned in this verse. So we got purified. Prabhupada said, I made your purification. So don't think because you have done everything, that's why you have been able to chant. I have given you purification. So whether it's Prabhupada has given us, most likely yes, or whether we have done all these austerities in the previous life, nevertheless, point is, and here the shloka is, even if the tip of the tongue, the holy name comes, it is glorious. But we have to go beyond that. We have to go to the level of pure holy name, chanting of the pure name. But the process is keep on chanting, keep on chanting, keep on chanting. That's all. So one does not even have to chant the holy name and understand the whole procedure, namely the offensive stage, offenseless stage, and pure stage. If the holy name is sounded on the tip of the tongue, that is also sufficient. It is said herein that Nam, a singular number, one name, Krishna Ram, is sufficient. It is not that one has to chant all the holy names of the Lord. The holy names of the Lord are innumerable. And one does not have to chant all the names to prove that he has already undergone all the processes of Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. If one chants once only, it is to be understood that he has already passed all the examinations. Not to speak of those who are chanting always, 24 hours a day. It is specifically said here, Tubhyam, unto you only. One must chant God's name, not as the Mayavadi philosophers say, any name such as a demigod's name or the names of God's energies. Only the holy name of the Supreme Lord will be effective. Anyone who compares the holy name of the Supreme Lord to the names of the demigods is called a Pashandi or an offender. So Prabhupada's mercy, we have at least chanted once properly the holy name. Maybe just one name, not even the whole Mahamantra. So means means we are already in this category. Now all we have to do is make more progress and come to the level of chanting purely, chanting constantly. Because other than chanting of the holy name, there is nothing else valuable in this whole material world. Nothing. Because only this will go with us. How much chanting we have done, how much service we have done to the Supreme Lord and to others, other devotees. Only this will go with us. Especially in this day and age of this corona problem. I don't want to scare anybody, but it is a fact. We don't know who's gonna survive and who's gonna go. Even in this group, we don't know. So I hope everybody survives and we continue with the classes. But we don't know. So only thing we have to do is just take shelter of the holy name. Today we had earthquake in Delhi, and I'm hearing some places that there are going to be 3 eclipses in this month. 5th June, which is the most auspicious day of Snan Purnima of Lord Jagannath. That day is a lunar eclipse, and then there is solar eclipse and maybe another lunar eclipse, something like that. So 3 eclipses, earthquake, corona problem, China problem. We don't know what else is there in the store. We don't know. And it's all over the world. In America, we never thought of so many riots and protests, so many people. It's spreading now all over America. This burning of cities and the stores. It's crazy. So, and here the police doesn't tackle the way they tackle in India, all these rioters. But anyway, the point is, I don't know what is going to happen. I don't know. Only thing I know is Krishna's name is very powerful. Whether he protects this body or not, but he'll definitely protect the consciousness. So we got to chant more and more and more. And just like yesterday we were discussing, the most auspicious day of Nirdjala Ekadashi is coming up 2nd June. So we should try to chant minimum 64, maximum 192. Let's see whoever goes where. So minimum 64. That's a target for everybody. That day, if your family members don't chant, you can tell them, okay, today just leave me alone. Don't bother me. And you can chant. It's not difficult. We all have experienced. I know in the beginning days when we were starting these classes of Nectar of Instruction, many years ago, I think it was 2009 or something like that. And then this Nirdjala Ekadashi time came and I asked everybody to chant 64 rounds, and each and every single person in the class said, we can't do it. There's no way. We'll get thirsty, we'll get hungry, it's so hot. I said, nothing will happen. Don't worry, trust me, nothing will happen. Once you get to the chanting and you have the target in front of you, holy name will give you all the strength. Holy name can take care of your hunger, thirst, everything. And next day, everybody's experience was the same. Yes. It just a beginning few rounds is a problem, and then you just get into the groove. So try to chant more and more and more rounds, especially on the Nirdjala Ekadashi day. Okay, then Prabhupada further writes, the holy name has to be chanted to please the Supreme Lord and not for any sense gratification or professional purpose. If this pure mentality is there, then even though a person is born of a low family, such as a dog eater, he is so glorious that not only has he purified himself, but he is quite competent to deliver others. So even if he is born in a low family, such as a dog eater, he is quite competent not only to deliver himself, but to deliver others as well, if he is just chanting the holy names and with the proper mentality. He is competent to speak on the importance of the transcendental name, just as Thakur Haridas did. He was apparently born in a family of Mohammedans, but because he was chanting the holy name of the Supreme Lord, offenselessly, Lord Chaitanya empowered him to become the authority or acharya of spreading the name. So because seeing our surrender to the holy name, seeing our love for the holy name, Mahaprabhu gives us the empowerment to do further services. It did not matter that he was born in a family which was not following the Vedic rules and regulations. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Advaita Prabhu accepted him as an authority because he was offenselessly chanting the name of the Lord. Authorities like Advaita Prabhu and Lord Chaitanya immediately accepted that he had already performed all kinds of austerities, studied the Vedas and performed the sacrifices. That is automatically understood. And so much so that there's a conversation between Mahaprabhu and Haridas Thakur, and that's called the Harinam Chintamani. Mahaprabhu is asking questions to Haridas Thakur, and Haridas Thakur is very humble, and he said, Mahaprabhu, you are asking me questions, but you are giving me the strength or power to speak, to answer your questions. It's only by your mercy I am able to speak all these difficult topics. I'm not at all qualified. So in that, one question was, Mahaprabhu asked Haridas Thakur that, how are all these Yavans and Malechas, how are they going to be delivered? They don't chant the holy name. Then Haridas Thakur says that even if they chant Sanketi, means not exactly the holy name, but something similar to that or resemblance of holy name, they'll still get purified and delivered. And then Haridas Thakur gives an example, and he says, once there was a Muslim guy and he was walking on the road, and a pig attacked him. And the pig was not just a street pig, it was a wild pig, jungly hog. He attacked him. And for Muslims, pigs are not considered very pure. They're considered very lowly, very abominable. So the Muslim, while he was being attacked by that hog, he just from his mouth came out, haram, haram. This is haram. Haram means very low. But in that word, haram, the name Ram was there. And the Supreme Lord, he took notice of that, or Vishnu Dutas took notice of that this person died chanting the name of Ram. So they came and took him back to the spiritual world. Although he was not chanting the name of Ram, he was saying haram. But who can stop the Lord from being merciful? Nobody. Even though throughout his life he did all the sinful activities. But he just accidentally chanted the name haram. So just this is to show how powerful the holy name is, how powerful it is. And that is one of the reasons at least in Hindu families, the name of the kids were kept after the Lord. Now it's We are trying to become modern, and this fashionable trends are there to name some crazy, give them some crazy names. But the idea behind giving them the names of the Lord was to at least chant of the holy names of the Lord when we call him the child. And that would purify ourselves, the child, and anybody who hears. And not just that, and like wherever the child goes, suppose he goes to school and his name is, say, Krishna. So everybody who calls him Krishna will get purified, and anybody who hears about his name gets purified. So this is how the devotees give mercy of the holy name to everybody who's not even willing to sit down properly and chant. There's a wonderful story in Chaitanya Charitamrita. There was a devotee named, not Gadadhar Pandit, but I think his name was Gadadhar Das. He was associate of Nityananda Prabhu. I think only Lord Nityananda's associates, they would do all this wonderfully crazy or transcendently crazy things. So Gadadhar Das, he was small man and brahmachari, very simple, not very big guy. And he was always associating with Nityananda Prabhu. And Nityananda Prabhu was given the order by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to go and preach the glories of the holy name all over Navadvip and all over Bengal. So this Gadadhar, he went to the house of the Qazi, Muslim Qazi. And that Muslim Qazi in that area, he was so ferocious and everybody was scared of him. He had made an announcement that if I catch anybody chanting of holy names, I'll punish him to death and I'll just burn down his house. So nobody's allowed to chant. And it was little late at night, and Gadadhar Das went to his house, went to the house of Kasi, and he had the soldiers out. And Gadadhar Das went out, and he was like very strictly and very strongly gave the message to the soldiers: "Get the Qazi, I want to talk to him." And even the soldiers, they were surprised. Who is this? The little bitty guy. And the soldiers were huge, big guys, and they somehow, it was Paramatma's arrangement. They took him a little seriously. They could have killed him, but they took him seriously. And someone went inside, and he called the Qazi. Qazi, come out and see what this guy wants. And Qazi came out, and Gadadhar said, "Chant the name of Lord, chant Hari, Bolo, Hari Bol." And Qazi was outraged. He was like, middle of the night, you woke me up and you are coming here, you have the audacity to tell me, give me orders. But somehow, seeing the pure, maybe it's the purity of Gadadhar Das, or it was the mercy of Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu on him, Qazi just calmed down. He said, okay, Gadadhar, very nicely, I heard you. But right now, it's time for me to sleep. So you go home now and I'll chant the name of Hari tomorrow. And as soon as Gadadhar Das heard that, he started dancing, he was jumping and he was embracing Qazi. And Qazi and all the soldiers, they were dumbfounded now. What is happening? He said, why tomorrow? You just chanted the name of Hari. You got all the mercy, all your sins are wiped out. And just chanting, Gadadhar Das left. So this is the power of the holy name. We don't understand how powerful it is. But the scriptures talk about the power of the holy name. Mahaprabhu gave the message about the power of the holy name. Followers of Mahaprabhu have given the message, have written so many books on the power, on the strength of the holy name. This is so powerful that even the very last verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Shukdev Goswami ended Bhagavatam, he glorified the holy It is so powerful. And it is free. It's not like we are charging anybody any money to chant. And and people have, their lives have changed by chanting of the holy names. Somebody can say any name of God I can chant, which is fine. Yes, you can. One can. But like Prabhupada explained someplace, that if a doctor has prescribed a medicine, we should just take that medicine. Doctor of this day and age is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us Hare Krishna mantra for Kali Yuga. Of course, any name of Krishna or Ram we chant, it will purify us, definitely. Govinda, or any name. But if we chant, if we take the medicine as prescribed by the doctor, it will have better and more effect. So that's why we chant Hare Krishna mantra. And then Prabhupada further writes, there is a hereditary class of Brahmins called the Smartha Brahmins, however, who are of the opinion that even if such persons who are chanting the holy name of the Lord are accepted as purified, they still have to perform the Vedic rites or await their next birth in a family of Brahmins so that they can perform the Vedic rituals. But actually, this is not the case. Such a man does not need to wait for the next birth to become purified. He is at once purified. It is understood that he has already performed all sorts of rites. It's the so-called Brahmins who actually have to undergo different kinds of austerities before reaching that point of purification. There are many other Vedic performances which are not described here. All such Vedic rituals have been already performed by the chanters of the holy names. So we can't even imagine how much purification is there for the people who are chanting continuously, constantly the holy names. The word Juhu means that the chanters of the holy name have already performed all kinds of sacrifices. Sasanu means that they have already traveled to all the holy places of pilgrimage and taken part in purificatory activities at those places. They're called Arya because they have already finished all these requirements, and therefore they must be among the Aryans or those who have qualified themselves to become Aryans. Aryan refers to those who are civilized, whose manners are regulated according to Vedic rituals. Any devotee who is chanting the holy name of the Lord is the best kind of Aryan. So Aryan means the civilized people, civilized. Civilized means those who are in the Varnashram system. Unless one studies the Vedas, one cannot become an Aryan. But it is systematically understood that the chanters have already studied all the Vedic literature. The specific word used here is Anuchu, which means that because they have already completed all those recommended acts, they have become qualified to be the spiritual masters. The word Grinanti, which is used in this verse, means to be already established in the perfectional stage of ritualistic performances. If one is seated on the bench of a high court and is giving judgment on cases, it means that he has already passed all legal exams and is better than those who are engaged in the study of law, or those expecting to study law in the future. In a similar way, persons who are chanting the holy name are transcendental to those who are factually performing the Vedic rituals and those who expect to be qualified. Or in other words, those who are born in the families of Brahmins but have not yet undergone the reformatory processes and who therefore expect to study the Vedic rituals and perform the sacrifices in the future. So this is the position of one who is chanting the holy name. And just at the tip of the tongue, not even from the bottom of his heart. Means that, look, just imagine the qualities or qualifications of a person who's chanting the holy In general, people will not understand this, but those who have knowledge of scriptures, they understand and they appreciate the devotees who are chanting holy names. There are many Vedic statements in different places saying that anyone who chants the holy name of the Lord becomes immediately freed from conditional life. And that anyone who hears the holy name of the Lord, even though born of a family of dog eaters, also becomes liberated from the clutches of material entanglement. Also becomes liberated from the clutches of material entanglement just because he's chanting the holy names. Anyone who hears the holy name, it's not even chanting, he's only hearing. Even that purifies. So when we do our japa, and especially when we do kirtan, so we do loudly. Japa, one has to be careful because once Prabhupada heard somebody was chanting very loudly his japa, and Prabhupada told him, if you want to chant this loud, you get out of the temple, go in the backyard or in the park and sit there and chant like that. Well, Prabhupada's point was, if you're chanting too loudly, means you are mentally disturbed, and then you will disturb others also by your loud chanting. So japa should be done in such a way that we chant and we hear. That's all. We should not be chanting in the mind, like silent japa. Only Haridas Thakur used to do 64 rounds of silence, 64 rounds of soft speaking, and 64 rounds loud speaking, loud chanting. But for us who are still trying to chant properly, so soft japa. So we chant and we hear. And the point is, we should try to concentrate on hearing the holy name. So we should be distinctly pronouncing the words distinctly and hearing, trying to hear. And like many places, many devotees have given different ways of chanting or art of chanting. So if in the middle of some place we are feeling that we are not concentrating on the hearing, then like Mahanadi Maharaj says, then you think of some pastime of the Lord or the form of the Lord or the beauty of the Lord for a while till you start getting your concentration back, your attention back. And then you again start really hearing attentively. It's a matter of mind. Mind gets bored, so bring it back till the mind finds so much of taste in chanting that it doesn't want to go anywhere. So there are different techniques, but the point is we have to chant and we have to hear attentively. That's all. Tam tvam aham brahma param pumsamam pratyak srotasyaatmani samvibhavyam swatejasadhvasta guna pravaham vande Vishnu kapilam vetagarbham. I believe, my Lord, that you are Lord Vishnu himself under the name of Kapil, and you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Brahman. The saints and the sages, being freed from all the disturbances of the senses and mind, meditate upon you. For you, by your mercy only, one can become free from the clutches of the three modes of material nature. At the time of dissolution, all the Vedas are sustained in you only. Devhuti, the mother of Kapila, instead of prolonging her prayer, summarized that Lord Kapila was none other than Vishnu, and that since she was a woman, it was not possible for her to worship him properly simply by prayers. It was her intention that the Lord be satisfied. The word pratyak is significant. In yogic practice, the 8 divisions are yam, niyam, asana, pranayam, pratyahar, dharan, dhyan, and samadhi. Pratyahar means to wind up the activities of the senses. See, asana, we are trying to do some yoga asanas, learning yoga asanas, but after that comes pranayama and then pratyahara. Pratyahara means to wind up the activities of the senses. And then there is possibility of some dharana and dhyana and finally samadhi. The level of realization of the Supreme Lord evidenced by Devhuti is possible when one is able to withdraw the senses from material activities. When one is engaged in devotional service, there is no scope for his senses to be engaged otherwise. In such full Krishna consciousness, one can understand the Supreme Lord as he is. So now Mother Devhuti is changing the gears a little, and then she is glorifying her son, prayers, and then she is talking about the samadhi. And when they meditate upon you, by your mercy, one can become free from the clutches of three modes. So she is concluding her prayers here, but she has given wonderful 2 verses about the glories of the holy name, and Prabhupada has given even wonderful purpose on these. So these purpose we can read again and try to engage in more chanting on 2nd June. From next verse, Maitreya Muni is starting to speak, so we'll take it up tomorrow. We'll stop and see anybody has any questions or comments.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, little stupid question. Why is it always mentioned family of dog eaters and no other eaters? We know pig is much lower and all this stuff. Sorry, it's a stupid question, but just
Well, because pig, look at the place he lives and the things he eats. It's just very abominable. He lives in the stool and he eats the stool. So the people who eat pigs, what kind of mentality they're gonna have? So that way pig is considered very abominable.
And why do the our scriptures, in fact, other places I know it only talks of dog eaters lower than that. So I mean, when lowly comparison is made, it's made to only dog eaters.
Probably because the pig eaters are even so low that they don't even want to mention. I don't know.
Sorry, your voice broke, Prabhuji, could not understand.
I'm saying probably the pig eaters are even lower than dog eaters. That's why they didn't mention. I don't know. Only one thing that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur has mentioned, that if somebody has a desire for prestige or getting respect from others, it is as worse as eating pig's stool, as lowly as eating pig's stool. Because the thing is, he eats a stool, and so what he is going to pass on as stool, it's even worse. So the desire to be respected, the desire to have some power, position, power, is as low as that. So that's where Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj compares the pig's position.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. I'm sorry I asked a stupid question because
No,
yes,
that's
it needs
okay.
to be discussed.
Even I don't know why scriptures don't talk about pig eaters. It only talks about dog eaters.
And lower than that, the Chinese kind of thing where they eat everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing
It's
prayers for
horrible.
Mother Devaki Prabhuji.
It's horrible. That's all it
Isn't
is.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji?
Hare Krishna.
Isn't that a fashion today that the more you eat everything, all the dirty things, the more you become developed or you are called as a developed nation? Because if you see in the Western countries, they eat hamburgers or so many things which are made up of ham, which is nothing but this thing only, pig and all we are talking about. But then they're not called low, but they're called, like their show offs are called very developed, or they're very developed, they're very kind, they're very humble. Not nothing against them, but it is just that it's against the Vedic cultures. They eat cows as well. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
uh, Muslims
Ah,
are, yeah, they are criticized for it, which is quite okay. But then again, the Westerners, it's quite open in the Chinese market or in the America, UK, and all.
see, um, why the Muslims get all the blame? Because of their dealings with others. Westerners and Americans, at least their dealings are proper. But yes, the eating habits are very, very bad, very bad here. But at the same time, the thing about Western society is they talk so much and they do so much for the upliftment of people in general, for making a nice society. Of course, this if eating meat they can give up, then this country can surpass any other country, even spiritually. Somehow they just can't give up. Probably they just don't know. But at the same time, because they talk and do so much welfare for others, now it is said about 1 million people every year are becoming vegans. That that you don't hear about in Muslim countries, that they're becoming vegans, or in Chinese or Oriental countries. Only in Western countries, people are becoming vegans. So, so maybe sometime this will turn around. It is an anomaly that you eat animals and then you talk about welfare of others, but somehow it's in the society. It's like it has been like that. But that's where the people who have the knowledge of scripture, Vedic scripture, they come in. They have to preach properly. So
Yeah.
it's our
But
responsibility.
but Prabhuji, the logic says that if somebody, do a lot of charities and all, like you mentioned about Westerners, they do a lot of charities, but then on the other hand, they do a lot of eatings also, these non-veg and all. So, I mean, materially, as per the Prarabdha, they might get a very good material life, but then again, they won't uplift themselves into this spiritual helm.
So they get both the reactions, good and bad, that's for sure. And and then they start again. But but at the same time, where the credit is due, we have to give. Prabhupada started the movement in America, and that's where it flourished so much. And then Europe. Europe was next to stop. Then he came to India and or Australia, New Zealand, but Oriental countries, even Prabhupada didn't go and start. Prabhupada's disciples went there. So
But but
it
what to
can go
say,
both
Prabhuji?
ways.
I mean, what to say? It's within. जैसे कि कहते हैं ना कि अब घर में ही सब कुछ ठीक नहीं है तो बाहर वालों को क्या कहेंगे. So it's something like we are not right ourselves. So I mean, if you look at the India, perspective, जो चीजें हैं श्रीमद् भागवत में, enviousness नहीं होनी चाहिए. Those are very common है. किसी के पास कुछ ज्यादा हो गया तो then you become envious, neighbor become envious. जैसे कि हमारे यार क्या है ये सब. Or if you talk to them for 5 minutes, they just keep on saying ये ठीक है, मेरा ये आ गया, ये हो गया, 4 गाड़ियाँ हो गई, सब कुछ ओके है. And then this is what going on. तो पहले तो अपने घर को ही ठीक करना है हमें, and then we'll talk about. तभी तो हम preach कर पाएंगे कि हाँ हम ठीक हैं, we are better than others.
Yeah, true. So we have to follow. We have to follow.
Hypocrisy
Yes.
is the main problem of our society.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah. So many things going on.
Prabhuji, in Oriental countries like specifically Middle East and other countries, which is like 56 countries which are Muslims particularly, if somebody goes there and preach there, it is very difficult. But it is seen that all these people are on Facebook, and all these people are like these social media platforms. So there can be like paid advertisements that can be done, like so that they can and they can come and join, something like that can be done. Because like one lecture you said that when a person throws a little stick into the river, he can get 1 or 2 fish, but if he throws a big a net, then he can get many fish out, something like that you had said once. So since the social media has a presence in all these countries, maybe we should invest some money there and do a paid advertisement or something like that, and get some people might be who are interested. Because history I was reading, and there was a time where Baghdad used to be a hub of study, somewhere around 1000 or 1200 century. So now it has become a ruined place, but people are intellectual. Intellectual people are almost everywhere. So if you would like to, this is just a thought I wanted to share.
Well, these are good ideas because of the technology that we have these days. But again, a person, if we want to transform him, we have to give association. There could be tons of material to be studied or read over the internet. But just a personal association is the one that helps. I know Sankarshan Maharaj has been preaching over the net all over the world, and amazing results he got. But people ask him directly questions. And he has been doing it for so many years. So slowly, he has developed the contacts. So yes, something like that can be done, but ultimately it's a personal association. Even if we do it over the net, it's a personal association is that people want, and that's going to help them. Is that okay?
Yes, Prabhuji, definitely. Like Sankarshan Maharaj, he remains in touch with the devotees through internet, and he visits several countries to give the personal association as well. So,
yeah, see, that's what helps. So it's not about the information, it's about the transformation. So anyway, if we cannot do much, at least we do in our neighborhood. That's all. That's also okay.
The thing, Proji, about the neighborhood is just like in the family, you cannot preach. In the neighborhood, they have been seeing us since we were child, and they have a kind of perception about, you know. So if we go and tell them, then they say, okay, this person is now coming and telling. So, and yeah.
Well, preaching doesn't have to be by your words. We can give them prasadam.
Yes, prasadam they appreciate always. Yes.
But that nobody can say no to. That's something nobody can say no. So prasadam is good, and depends what kind of person. Like in America, people are very fond of reading books. So if you give them some books, they really love to read. They're open-minded. They want to read. In India, reading habits are not there. That's for sure. So prasadam works. And some other places, maybe something else works. But anyway, whatever works, we just have to be able to see it and adopt it for preaching. Is it okay?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, so we will stop here. You all have a wonderful and safe day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri
Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna. Jai Shri
Thank you so much,
Prabhupada.
Prabhuji.
Thank you so
Jai
much,
Shri
Prabhuji.
Prabhupada. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you so much,
Hare
Prabhuji.